Greetings comrades! In this video I will try to make immersion cooling of a conventional desktop PC. So if you're wondering what came out of it, sit back and enjoy watching. First of all, I decided to arrange all the components in such way so they take up as little space as possible. As a base for mounting all components, I will use 4mm thick plexiglass.
Wait a minute!
What the fuck is this?
And yes, as I later found out, this knife is primarily designed for cutting roofing or flooring materials, and it is not suitable for a plastic at all. Because of different sharpening, it's always stuck in the material. Despite this, I still managed to cut a piece of plastic with this knife, but not without losses. Then I marked and made holes for a power wire. The next step, I took up the wiring and first of all removed all unnecessary additional power connectors. Since the motherboard power connections will not go through the holes for their wires, and to keep the possibility of complete disassembly without soldering, I decided to use terminal blocks for a detachable connection. From the power supply we have such wires as ground, 3.3, 5 volts and 12 volts. We also have additional wires for a voltage sensors. For them I will use quick lamp terminal blocks, since they must go separately from the power supply to the 24-pin connector. And the last 4 additional wires are 5 volts standby, enable signal wire, power good and minus 12 volts. To reduce the number of wires from the power supply to the terminal blocks, I will replace them with a larger 13-gauge wire. And for further cutting of the plastic I decided to make a blade by myself. Here you can see a comparison with a purchased blade. On the cut it's clearly visible that the homemade blade cut the glass almost half the depth, and the purchased blade approximately only 1 mm. Since I didn't have a wire stripper on hand, I hastily made one from the clothespin and a piece of blade, and I have to admit it works pretty well. And here is it, first test of custom wiring. Here I decided to modify the cooling of my video card by replacing the standard fan with a larger one and with a fancy backlight. Since the motor on this fan was rather weak and had 2-pin connection, so I decided to replace it with a more powerful motor that also has a 4-pin connection. Then I ran and soldered all the necessary wires for the CPU fan and RAM backlight. The next stage is making a container for all this computer hardware. First time for gluing plexiglass I used some kind of undiluted solvent that dissolved surface layer of two pieces of glass and fused it together. Because of this, small cracks appeared on the end of the glass, so later to avoid it I added a small amount of plexiglass into solvent. Here I decided to shorten Aquarium a little bit, as it turned out that it was too high. Also behind the scenes I decided to glue the LED strip on a separate frame. Next step, I proceed to the manufacture of the cover. There will be 3 temperature sensors in a cover that will show the temperature before and after radiator and also CPU VRM temperature. Assembling the voltage indicator. I'll also install 2 voltage sensors with variable resistors in a cover to control the speed of the pump and fans, and of course the power and reset buttons. To install the temperature sensors in the oil supply and return pipes, I remove the metal case from them and ground the compound. Thermistor proof test. Works like a charm. Install the sensor in a radiator of the processor power circuit. I implemented the speed control of the pump and fans by using DC-DC buck converter. And last but not least, I start making oil radiator. And here is it, the final assembly. Well, the computer has taken its place and successfully performed its function. First of all, it's video editing. By the way, this video was edited on the same PC, as experience has shown that computer works stably and without any crashes. PC hardware in oil cools much better than by air and isn't covered with dust. The noise level has also been reduced, as it's enough to set the fans to the lowest speed for successful cooling of the radiator, and with a low PC load you can generally turn off the pump and fans. In this case the oil warms up to 45 degrees, and then its temperature does not increase anymore, while the computer is completely silent. If you have any questions or suggestions, welcome to the comments. And that's all from me, thank you for watching and see you soon. Нормально. Повезло. Зеленый это сигнал включения и синий минус 12. Что фиолетовый 5 вольт стендбай. Понял. Что-то пошло не попало. Странно. Ага, ясно, понятно.